Hello everybody, my name's Llama Joe, welcome to my channel. Alright, we're back at the letter part 18. Okay, I actually planned on, I've done like 5 or 6 recordings or something. It'll just be my 6th one, I think now, for the day. And I only plan on stopping at the 5th one, but it just got so intense and I was like, oh, I gotta keep going right here. So, we're gonna keep doing this. So, I don't see his face when he leaves, and it's only when the store bell chimes again do I breathe. I think there was a journal. I feel kind of bad. I picked the wrong choice, but I mean, Ash was being a dick. Sometimes you gotta stand up for yourself. So I'm sorry if this causes Zach to die or it tears away Ash and his friendship, but that's just how it is. So, disturbed, Zachary decided to show the photographs to Ashton. During lunch at the coffee house, they briefly discussed Zach's sister before the topic veered on the photos. Refusing to believe his friend, Ashton advised him to talk to Andrew instead. Been there, done that. Didn't work. Of all the places, it never crossed my mind to let him wander into the public library today, considering I rarely ever visit. Somehow, there has always been this kind of disconnect between me and the books in general. Sure, some of them held my attention in my youth during the brief times of the day I was left to my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole of Grand's collection, as a matter of fact. Read all of them twice or thrice, even. But they never did hold it for long. Most of it never even sticked. Especially after I learned it's simply easier to do things myself if I want to learn stuff. This ain't in the plan in the first place. But after that argument, I really don't have any other choice. Nothing but quiet greets me inside, though. Not the typical mum one would associate with a library, but one akin to a hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps I'm just overthinking again. I really like to think I'm just thinking too much about this, that this is just the lack of sleep talking. Regardless, apart from a group of students murmuring in a corner somewhere, the place is free of its usual visitors. All while, my footsteps echo in a manner of unsettling enough to raise the hairs at the back of my neck. Much to my relief, it does not take me long to find him, being the only occupant in this side of the room. Professor Andrew Clark. I've never personally met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he is Ash's go-to guy when something's troubling him with a case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile like a grandson he hasn't seen in a long time.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary. You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Alright, but you did, so you're good.
Oh, no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
He gestures at the empty seat across the table while he returns to his books. The next couple of minutes pass in relative silence as he continues to read and takes notes from the pile he's accumulated on the table. Maybe I should have taken a book first before heading here? But before I can even get far into the idea, the professor clicks the book shut and sets it atop the stack next to him.
Ashton told me you were hoping to get answers from me.
At my confused look, he lets out a small
He
chuckle.
sent a message ahead. A friend needs to have some sense knocked into him. In verbatim. That boy never changes.
I wasn't really expecting he'd do that.
Although I'm not quite sure what I could share, I'll do my best to help.
I actually really like Professor Clark. Of course, there are a lot of things I want to ask. How did we get out of this mess in the first among tens, hundreds of concerns in my head? But in the presence of someone I barely know, the thoughts won't easily form. He is nothing but patient, however, and with enough time to mull over, a question finally forms.
Do you believe in the paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually. Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make. But they really are two different things. The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to. Here.
He places a couple of papers in front of me, the very same one he was writing on earlier. A study of Luxburn's supernatural culture, in a nutshell.
A friend of mine wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture, and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It might not always be a spirit now. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even. Out of great anger, hatred, or pain. There was this one story. Ah, here it is.
Oh, here we go. We're about to load history. Another book is pulled out from the stack and placed open atop the papers, while he speaks with such passion that it makes me wonder if some part of him believes these to be true. It is interesting, though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon, hours pass without my notice.
In the end, it asks for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the Wraith.
So she's a wraith. Is it that? It's totally like being like, oh yeah, this is the story. I was kind of hoping that they would actually tell the story. So
A sad tale, that one. But the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser. Oh, I'm sorry. I just went on.
Nah, it's good. Are you familiar with the Ermengarde mansion, though?
Of course. That goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend? In fact, you aren't the first one to ask me about that recently. Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Oh yeah.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man. You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house.
No, it's neither one of them.
But my favorite, a personal favorite,
Here we go.
would
Here we
have
go.
to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
Yeah.
Well, what about these then?
There's a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Miss Wright's photos and lay them all in front of him. Unlike Ash, though, the professor inspects each print with great interest. That gives me some hope, at least.
When were these taken?
Just the other day. Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see. But then, it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them.
Yeah, that's just...
Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know? I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but...
Some people might deserve it, however.
Oh, okay.
Deserve
Okay.
what, sir?
Damn. All of a sudden, the tenderness in the professor's eyes disappears, his face becoming unreadable. As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathers his books, and rises from his seat.
Professor?
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do. You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
All right. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years. I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. Zachary met with Professor Andrew Clark at the library. The professor shared a few of his favorite stories about the city, including a friend's research about its urban legends. When Zach showed Hannah's distorted photos, the professor only warned him not to be reckless, and that some people deserve what's coming for them. I mean, Luke, I agree. But Hannah, I mean, based off of what I experienced, I don't know a lot about her past, but I don't think she deserves to die or anything. Alright. In a few short strides, he's out of the library, leaving me and every piece of this whole mess amidst the oppressive stillness. Despite the answers gleaned, more questions surfaced. If there's even a single way out of this, I hope we find it soon. Yeah, I think it's the daughter, but maybe not. Maybe it's another, like... What I think, it's a lady who, like, was... There was, like, the lady of the house, and there was the man of the house, right? Maybe it was the daughter. Maybe it is. But she seemed really old to be a daughter, you know? Seemed pretty grown woman to me. I wanna say that, like, it's a lover of the man of the house. Like, he was, like, cheating on his wife. And then, like, it was found out about. And so they ended up, like, killing her to cover it up and, like, hide it so no one would find out about it. Like, that's I mean... I'm probably completely wrong, but, like, that's what I think, so. The moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home. my heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing in my ears, filling the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today, I really can't give a damn about everything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop down in it, and I find myself looking at the paper under my grip. An invitation and a request to cover an event, the Wrights' housewarming party, tomorrow evening. If only it were that easy, but it would give me a chance to talk to her. Okay. About that thing in their house. With a sigh, I let my hand fall to the side of the bed along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow when my head ain't muddled with thoughts of a headless woman and the haunting smiles of a ghost. Belatedly, it occurs to me that the last humiliate had been the one with Ashton. And an empty glass gnawing... And an empty gnawing... Sorry, I don't know where I got fucking glass from. And an empty gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today it was a complete waste of time and, frankly, a disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, the disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything has been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise from the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's one thing that hasn't changed. The melody carries in the hall long before I cross the threshold. Solemn but gentle and soothing, a reminder of what home is. Pa's firm but meaningful gaze, Ma's wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the eaves at sunset, the distinct smell of wet earth and leaves after a long day's rain in our room. The room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy, a place we were once promised several springs ago. Yet it won't stop.
No, wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards are cold under my feet, more than it usually is. The walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Yeah, it sounds familiar. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases, and Pa... I can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting, soft melodies. There is only the blinding fear. But when the light breaks... Uh-oh. Her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Hannah's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. A scream ripples through the air. Is that Hannah? Oh shit. My whole body feels distant. Every limb heavy with lead, all unable to move at will. Not even so I can wipe the beads of sweat forming at my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours while I force it back into a steady rhythm. There's a tightness in my chest I can't shake off, my heart pounding against it as if it's about to burst out. Something cold has settled in my legs. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with the passing breeze from the window, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping up my skin. With every struggle I make, the pressure wins firmly around my legs. Tighter, and tighter, and tighter, and until it becomes too much. I knew it! Ah! My heart stops. Another draft sweeps into the room and brings with it the iron tang of blood. Thick. With two C's. Suffocating. Filling my nose with a foul, sickening smell as I shift my gaze downwards and it slowly comes into view. Am I about to... Is Zach about to die? Mouth stretched in a hideous smile and eyes brimming with nothing but madness. The stench of gore taints the air around me and I can't look away. From it, from the terror and death that her uncanny, twisted features alone scream. I try to open my mouth to shout, to ask for any help, but my voice has left my body altogether. All I have is the painful realization that no kind of plea will ever save me from her. Then suddenly, the bed dips. No! No! Oh. The brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. Holy shit! That was scary as fuck. There is no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing of limbs. Just a painful, constricting awareness that something has wound itself tightly around my neck. I waste no second pulling it, a blanket, away, but allow myself a few minutes to steady my breathing before getting out of the bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. I know, I need to friggin' breathe. God! 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dreams have gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, no longer are they the small, cursory flashes that I'm used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood in my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, the sickening crunch of bones breaking with every movement in her cold, chilling eyes as they bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath, and before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Even in the waking world, it reeks. Alright, well, since I had a small heart attack, we're gonna call it there. So, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. And I'll do the best I can to make it right. Whoo boy! I'm Llama Joe, and I'll catch you guys later!